The monitor screamed. A mechanical shriek fractured the fragile calm. Olivia leapt to her feet, heart hammering, eyes wide with horror. Nadia's body convulsed once, violent and unnatural. Her chest rose, paused, and didn't fall. Her mouth opened, then stilled. "Nadia!" Olivia cried. "Baby, please." A nurse slammed the red emergency button on the wall. Code blue. The room erupted into swift, clinical chaos. A crash cart was wheeled in. Doors banged. Gloves snapped. Voices became commands. Airway. Pulse dropping. Oxygen mask now. Clear. A jolt of electricity raced through Nadia's small body. She lifted from the bed, then fell limp again. Olivia's legs buckled. She might have collapsed if not for the hand that gripped her arm. Firm, grounding. "Breathe," said Benjamin, his voice quiet but razor-sharp. "Look at me. Breathe, Olivia." She couldn't. She was frozen, eyes fixed on the curtain they pulled around her daughter's bed. The green line on the monitor spasmed. A nurse rushed in with a fresh four. Another drew the curtains tighter. Inside the makeshift barrier, the doctor's voice sliced through panic. "Epinephrine. Second dose. Prepare suction." "Mommy," Olivia whispered to the air. "Please, God, no. Not her." Beside her, Benjamin stared at the curtain like he could rip it down with his will. His jaw clenched. He was reliving it. Not this room, but a terminal 2 years ago, and a voicemail he never deleted. He could still hear his daughter's voice saying, "See you tomorrow, Daddy." But tomorrow never came. And now, someone else's tomorrow was slipping. Charging. Clear. The doctor barked. Another surge of electricity. Another brutal jolt. Then, beep. A single, stubborn blip. Then another. The monitor stuttered back to life. "She's responding," a nurse called out. "Pulse stabilizing. Maintain fluids. Drop the fever. Prep antibiotics," the doctor ordered, still crouched over Nadia's small body. Olivia collapsed into the chair, hands clamped over her mouth, body trembling so hard the metal frame of the seat rattled. Benjamin sat beside her, silent. The doctor finally stepped through the curtain. She stabilized. Her fever triggered a seizure, but we caught it in time. She's sleeping now. The next 12 hours will be critical. But she's safe. Safe. The word echoed like a hymn. Olivia nodded through sobs. "Thank you." By morning, the sun was brushing the sky with muted pink. In the private room, Olivia hadn't moved from her daughter's side. The machines hummed a quiet rhythm. The air was no longer thick with fear. Benjamin returned with 2 paper cups of tea. His suit jacket was gone, his shirt sleeves rolled up. He looked like a man who'd sat through a war and somehow found peace on the other side. "You should drink," he said. Olivia took the cup in both hands, as if afraid she'd drop it. Her eyes were red, but focused. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Why us?" He sat across from her. "Because I know what silence feels like, and you don't deserve to face it alone." She blinked hard. "But we're strangers." He hesitated. "My wife and daughter died in a crash I should have been on. I missed the flight because of a meeting. I remember standing there, hoping for a miracle, and getting nothing. I know what it's like to beg heaven for a heartbeat." Olivia looked down. A single tear fell into her tea. That afternoon, Nadia opened her eyes. "Mommy," she whispered. Olivia leaned in, kissing her forehead. "I'm here, my sunshine." Nadia's gaze shifted. She saw Benjamin standing by the window. "You," she said. "You didn't let me go." Benjamin smiled. "The world still needs you, beautiful girl." For the first time since Sam's death, Olivia felt something foreign inside her chest. Hope. It terrified her almost as much as it comforted her. That evening, as dusk stretched its arms over Lagos, Benjamin returned to the hospital room. His expression was different now, decisive. "Olivia," he said quietly, "Nadia is not going back to that one-room house. Not after this. Not while there are empty rooms in my home." The words hit her like cold rain. She stared at him. "Sir, why me?" He met her eyes. "Because I believe God made sure you dialed my number. I won't waste that gift." The gates of the mansion opened with a soft hum, parting like curtains to a new act. Olivia had never seen anything like it. Polished iron gates, marble driveway, palm trees aligned like ceremonial guards. Fountains danced in the yard. The house shimmered in cream and glass. Nadia gasped. "Is this where you live?" Benjamin smiled. "No, this is home. For both of you now." Olivia clutched her daughter's hand tighter. Her other hand gripped the small nylon bag that carried their lives. One wrapper, a Bible, and hope. Inside, the staff bowed slightly but stared. They didn't speak, but their eyes asked everything. Who is she? Why is she here? Benjamin walked beside Olivia and Nadia, offering nothing but quiet presence. The living room alone could swallow their entire compound. Ceilings stretched like cathedrals. A chandelier spilled light like crystal rain. The floors gleamed like wet stone. Nadia pointed to a painting on the wall, a woman in royal blue with a soft smile and a teenage girl beside her. Is that my wife and daughter? Benjamin said softly. The air shifted. Olivia felt it, the grief beneath the grandeur. They made this place alive, he said. Nadia whispered. They look beautiful. They were, he replied. Dinner was an orchestra. Silver dishes, careful servers, food like art. Olivia barely touched her plate. I'm not used to this, she admitted. Benjamin pushed his plate toward her. Then tonight, eat with me. No billionaire. No widow. Just two parents who got another chance. She took a small bite. Rich flavors hit her tongue. Tears followed without warning. Mommy, Nadia whispered, don't cry. We're safe now. Olivia nodded. But deep inside, she knew safety always came with a price. Later that night, Nadia was shown to a guest room larger than their entire old house. Olivia was invited to Benjamin's study. Leather, wood, books, the quiet weight of intellect. Sit, he said gently, pouring her a glass of water. Tell me about you, he asked. Not the pain. The woman before the storm. I studied accountancy, she said quietly. I was good, bright, but I married early. Stayed home. Sam wanted me there. I believed love would be enough. Her voice cracked. Then he died. Everything collapsed. I couldn't even give Nadia the life he dreamed for her. Benjamin leaned forward. Don't ever say that. You gave her love. That's worth more than this house. No one had ever said that to her before. Are you ready to work now? He asked. Her eyes widened. Yes, more than ever. Then you will. Tomorrow, I'll take you to my company. You trained for that world. You just needed a door to open. She stared at him, barely breathing. And then he turned to the portrait of his lost family. His voice was almost a whisper. Maybe you're here to fill the silence they left behind. Olivia stood quickly, bowed her head. Good night, sir. She stepped into the hallway. Chandeliers flickered above. A storm of emotions churned in her chest. Gratitude, unease, wonder, fear. Because now, she wasn't sure if this was still help, or something else entirely. The rumor metastasized quietly at first, like wrought under paint. But soon, it bloomed in full color across the sleek corridors of Ben Companies. It began with glances, then whispers, then entire conversations that halted when Olivia entered a room. She heard them. She lives in his mansion. Must be nice. One wrong number, and now you're rich. No one joins accounts straight from nowhere. That position has a queue. We waited years. She's pretty. Maybe that's enough. She said nothing. She filed reports. She caught errors no one else saw. She double-checked reconciliation sheets, flagged ghost entries, closed loopholes. Numbers didn't whisper. They obeyed. They yielded. But her colleagues didn't. Daniel, the head of accounts, remained professional but increasingly distant. Lunch invitations stopped. Conversations dropped when she approached. Once, she overheard two interns betting on how long she'd last. She's not just an employee, one said. She's the boss's something. It escalated quickly. One morning, as Olivia entered the office, silence met her. Not quiet, silence. A waiting kind. A loaded kind. Within minutes, an HR assistant appeared. The board would like a word with you, he said. And with Mr. Anderson. The walk to the boardroom felt longer than it was. At the end of the glass hallway, the door opened into a room of polished mahogany and polished people. 12 executives sat waiting. Benjamin was already there, standing by the window. He didn't smile. He didn't nod. The chair at the far end of the table was hers. She sat slowly, spine straight. Mrs. Olivia, began a woman with tight curls and tighter eyebrows. You've become a subject of company discussion. Unrest, another corrected. Your rapid entry into this firm has raised eyebrows. We have reports, a man in a blue tie added, of inappropriate proximity, of favoritism. We have a duty to protect this organization's image. There it was. Her chest constricted. I understand, Olivia said quietly. But I never asked for special treatment. Mr. Anderson helped my daughter. I needed help. Then I asked to work. Nothing more. The room was still. If my presence is damaging this company, she continued, I'll resign. I only wanted a way to survive. To earn. Not pity. Not scandal. Benjamin turned then. Slowly. His voice cut through the air like a knife. She won't resign. Murmurs rose. One executive raised a brow. Yes, Benjamin said, addressing the board now. She lives in my house. Do you know why? Because her child was dying in a room with no power. And she called a stranger by accident. That stranger was me. He stepped forward. She didn't ask for favors. She didn't ask for a job. She asked me to help her daughter live. Silence. She works here now because she's good. Because she's better than most people in this room are willing to admit. If anyone here can show a single mistake in her work, speak now. Nobody did. If merit isn't enough, he added coldly, then perhaps the problem isn't her, but us. No one met his eyes. That evening, Olivia sat in the garden. The leaves rustled overhead, and Nadia's laughter floated from somewhere inside the house. But Olivia's mind was still in the boardroom. She'd wanted to sink through the floor. She had never felt so exposed, so out of place. Benjamin joined her in silence. He handed her a cup of tea. His sleeves were rolled, his collar loosened. He looked less like a billionaire and more like a man who hadn't rested. You did well, he said. I almost shattered, she admitted. But you didn't. She looked at him. Why do you keep defending me? Why take the risk? He was quiet for a long time. Then he stood and knelt. Olivia's heart thudded. He reached into his jacket. A small velvet box emerged. I've lost too much, he said, voice steady. But you brought life back into this house. You brought peace back into me. You and Nadia, you made me believe again. He opened the box. The ring inside was simple, elegant, clear. Olivia, he said, will you marry me? She stared, speechless. She thought of Sam, of the room with the broken fan, of the wrong number. Then she thought of this moment, this man, and she said, yes. Benjamin slid the ring onto her finger. At that moment, Nadia burst into the garden. She stopped, eyes wide. Mommy. Olivia smiled. Yes, baby. We're a family now. The girl squealed, rushed to them, hugged them both. Benjamin wrapped his arms around them like someone holding on to something he thought he'd never find again. The wedding came weeks later, understated by billionaire standards, but grand by every other measure. Close friends, colleagues, a few members of government. The media only got a glimpse before being shut out. Nadia wore white gloves and carried the rings. Olivia, in a fitted lace gown, walked down the aisle not with fear, but with grace. Benjamin's eyes didn't leave her once. When they exchanged vows, there was no trembling. Just two people who had walked through loss and chose to love again. At the reception, Nadia whispered to her mother, this is what you deserve. A second chance. Olivia kissed her forehead. And this is just the beginning, my sunshine. Nadia didn't just want to be a doctor. She wanted to become the reason other daughters didn't die in small rooms with broken fans. Her ambition wasn't born of entitlement. It was forged in fear, in prayers whispered beside hospital beds, in the memory of a mother dialing a wrong number that became the right one. The morning of her university entrance exam, Olivia watched her from the doorway. Nadia sat cross-legged on the carpet, surrounded by open textbooks and flashcards. Her lips moved silently, reciting the names of cranial nerves. Her fingers danced across her notes with surgical precision. You should eat something, Olivia said softly. Nadia looked up, eyes tired but burning. I can't. My brain's full. You're going to be brilliant, her mother replied. You have to say that. You're my mother. No, Olivia said, stepping into the room. I have to say that because I watched you survive what should have broken you. I say it because you already are. Nadia smiled. It wasn't the old, fragile smile from years ago. It was sharper now, earned. That day, she walked into the exam hall in pressed trousers and a navy blue blouse. She carried no wealth, no name recognition, just will. The results came in 4 months later. Nadia had not only passed. She'd ranked in the top percentile nationwide. Medicine and Surgery, University of Lagos. When the letter arrived, Olivia opened it, then sat on the floor and cried. Not pretty tears. Deep, silent ones. The kind that only come from deferred hope being realized. Benjamin returned home that night to find Nadia sitting on the staircase, holding the letter, unable to speak. She got in. Olivia said simply, Benjamin didn't speak. He walked up, pulled Nadia into a hug, and whispered, "Then the world is about to get better." They threw a celebration. It wasn't for show. It was for testimony. Nadia wore a white dress and danced barefoot on the grass. Olivia cooked herself, insisting on it: jollof rice, fried plantain, pepper soup. Benjamin invited a few close friends from the business world, most of whom stared in awe at the young girl they had only heard about in whispers. "She's different," one said. "Yes," Benjamin replied, "because she had to fight." University life changed Nadia. She insisted on staying on campus. "I need to learn life," she told Olivia, "and Lagos is too comfortable here." Her dorm room was small, but neat. Her bookshelves overflowed. Her alarm rang at 4:30 a.m. every day. She studied like her life depended on it, because in her mind, it did. At Ben Companies, Olivia kept working. She was now respected, not just by Benjamin, but by the board. She earned her title, not through patronage but performance. But then came the surprise that shook her world again. A late period. Then too. She assumed it was stress. Work, motherhood, commuting between office and university to visit Nadia. Then the nausea came. Then the cravings. She took the test alone, in a quiet bathroom. 2 pink lines. She stared at them for 10 minutes before exhaling. Pregnant. Again. Telling Benjamin wasn't the cinematic moment she imagined. It happened over breakfast. Toast. Eggs. Silence. "I'm pregnant," she said, not looking up. He put down his fork. Then, a beat later, he smiled. Wide. Soft. "God doesn't run out of blessings," he said. Pregnancy at 36 felt different. Slower. Heavier. But calmer. Nadia returned home on weekends to rub her mother's feet and argue about names. Benjamin built a nursery before Olivia even saw the ultrasound. And on a cool morning in May, Olivia gave birth to a boy. They named him Ina, which in ancient Greek means wine, but for Olivia meant joy that aged through time. Nadia held him like he was glass. "He's perfect," she whispered. "He looks like you." Olivia looked at Benjamin. "No," she said. "He looks like both of you. 2 gifts I never asked for." Life moved faster now. Nadia juggled lectures and hospital rotations. Benjamin expanded his business quietly, rarely leaving town. Olivia became a matriarch of sorts, balancing boardrooms, bottle feeding, and Bible verses. Ina grew fast. He was curious, loud, loved colors and puzzles. Nadia taught him the alphabet with anatomy flashcards. "A is for atrium," she'd say, laughing. He loved her more than anyone, except perhaps his mother, who still whispered prayers over his head when he fell asleep. But even with all the joy, there were still old ghosts. Sometimes Olivia would wake up in the middle of the night and check if the fan was still working, if the power was still on, if Nadia was still breathing. Sometimes Benjamin would sit alone in his study, staring at a photo of his first daughter, gone too soon. But they never allowed the past to poison the present. Nadia graduated with first-class honors. Her name echoed through the convocation hall. Best graduating student. Outstanding clinical performance. Dedication to the Hippocratic Oath. Olivia sat in the front row, Ina on her lap. Her hands were shaking again. When Nadia's name was called, the crowd stood, applauded, cheered. She walked across the stage, her cap slightly crooked, her smile unshakable. Olivia cried, not quietly. "That's my daughter," she whispered. "That's my miracle." Benjamin leaned close, his voice raw. "Sam would be proud." She nodded. She felt it too. After graduation, Nadia received offers from 3 hospitals. She chose the one closest to the slums she came from. Private, well-equipped, but accessible. She wanted to treat the people she once stood among. And she did, with patience, with precision, with love. The same girl who once burned with fever now cooled the fires of others. And one day, love came for her, too. Love didn't crash into Nadia's life like lightning. It arrived quietly, during a medical conference held in a cool hall with bad coffee and sharp suits. She was presenting a case study on pediatric infections in under-resourced communities. A man stood at the back, listening too intently to be bored. After her talk, he approached. "Your data was good," he said, offering a hand. "Your delivery was better." "Thank you," she replied. "And you are?" "Joshua Adekunle, Gynecology and Obstetrics." "I don't usually enjoy lectures. But this one, I stayed." She smiled. "Then I'll count it as a win." They didn't fall fast. They fell steadily. Text messages turned into coffees. Conversations grew from medicine to music, from public health to childhood fears. He was gentle in speech, sharp in thought, and surprisingly funny when off duty. And most of all, he listened. He didn't interrupt her stories. He didn't flinch at her past. He asked to meet Olivia and Benjamin early, not as protocol, but because he respected where she came from. "I want to marry her," he told Benjamin over dinner, his voice steady. Benjamin studied him long, then placed a hand on his shoulder. "She's not just my daughter," he said. "She's my miracle. Take care of her like you would a nation." Joshua nodded. "Yes, sir. With everything I have." Their wedding was a balance of elegance and sincerity. No excess, no press, just joy. Nadia's dress was fitted silk with cap sleeves. Her veil, minimal. Her walk down the aisle, breathtaking. Joshua waited like a man who knew the value of what he was about to receive. Olivia watched from the front pew, her fingers clasped around Benjamin's. Ina fidgeted beside them, too young to understand the sacredness of vows, but old enough to sense the love. Later that night, under soft lanterns, Nadia leaned into her husband and whispered, "We made it." Joshua held her tighter. "This is only the beginning." It was. But beginnings aren't always easy. For the first 3 years of their marriage, Nadia and Joshua tried to conceive. Quietly at first, then with intention, then with medical support. Nothing. No medical explanation. No visible problem. Just silence. Cycle after cycle. As a doctor, she understood the biology. But as a woman, the emptiness gnawed at her. "What if I can never give you children?" she asked one night, curled in Joshua's arms, her voice brittle. "You gave me a home," he replied. "You are enough, with or without a child." But the ache remained. She prayed. She fasted. She worked longer shifts to avoid the quiet of her own thoughts. Olivia noticed, of course. Mothers always do. "You're more than your womb," she said gently over tea one day. "I had you. That was enough for me. You already are someone's answered prayer." Nadia smiled faintly. "But I want to be someone's beginning, too." Then came the 5th year. A Sunday morning. She was late. 2 weeks. She took the test alone, in the bathroom, like her mother once had. Positive. She stared, then laughed, then cried, then laughed again, harder, hysterically. Joshua found her 5 minutes later, still holding the test. "I'm pregnant," she whispered. He didn't speak. He just pulled her into his chest and held her like he was afraid she might disappear. 9 months later, twins arrived. A boy and a girl. Jacob and Jessica, born without complications. Small but loud. Strong lungs. Clear eyes. Perfect. Olivia held them and sobbed. Benjamin stood beside her, his own cheeks wet. "I lost one daughter," he said quietly. "But now I have 3. Ina peeked over the hospital bed, wide-eyed. "They're tiny," he said. "Can I keep one?" Nadia laughed through exhaustion. "No, but you can visit any time." The day they brought the babies home, the mansion changed again. More toys. More blankets. More reasons to wake up tired but grateful. At dinner that night, Olivia looked around the table. Benjamin at the head, Nadia and Joshua side by side. Ina spooning rice with both hands. Jacob and Jessica sleeping in bassinets nearby. She closed her eyes. Whispered a quiet thank you. This, all of this, from a wrong number. No, she corrected herself. From a divine reroute. The mansion never felt small until it filled with voices. Tiny feet echoed down marble floors. Crayon drawings appeared on imported wallpaper. Laughter erupted in rooms that had once held only silence and paintings of the past. Jacob liked to climb everything. Jessica preferred stories, always with the same request. Tell me the one about how Grandma made a phone call and everything changed. And Olivia told it. Again and again. The wrong number. The soft voice on the other end. The man who answered when no one else could. The daughter who burned with fever and rose from it. The son she thought she'd never have. The legacy none of them planned, but all of them cherished. Benjamin grew older, but not slower. He still wore tailored suits and ran board meetings. But his favorite part of the day was reading to his grandchildren. Sometimes financial reports lay untouched on his desk, while Jacob asked why clouds floated or Jessica wanted to know where babies came from. He answered everything, sometimes scientifically, sometimes wisely, sometimes with laughter. But his eyes, when resting on Olivia, always softened. He'd loved her quietly, steadily, without fireworks. It wasn't a romance of grand declarations. It was a partnership born of mutual repair. Two broken people who refused to stay that way. Nadia advanced quickly at the hospital. Patients trusted her. Peers respected her. She launched an outreach program in rural areas, offering free surgeries and maternal care. She became a name whispered in corridors with admiration. Dr. Nadia, the one who listens. She returned home every weekend, still her mother's daughter. Once, at the dinner table, she looked at Olivia and asked, "Do you ever miss the old life?" Olivia paused, thought, then smiled. "I miss the simplicity," she said, "but not the struggle." Ina grew like a weed, curious, mischievous, a storyteller by nature. "I want to be like Grandpa," he said once. "A CEO?" Benjamin asked, amused. "No, a helper." Benjamin nodded. "Then you'll be better than me." Years passed the way years do, subtly, then all at once. Benjamin turned 70, surrounded by 3 generations. The party was modest by his standards. Just family, close friends, staff who had become loyal over decades. Olivia stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on his. "You built an empire," she whispered. He turned to her, smiling. "No," he said. "We built a home." Then, one morning, Olivia sat alone in the garden, watching Jessica chase butterflies. Nadia was at work. Joshua was at a conference. Ina was reading under a tree. Benjamin had gone inside to make tea, his latest hobby. She closed her eyes. The sun warmed her skin. A gentle breeze rustled the bougainvillea. In that moment, she felt everything at once. The weight of years, the sweetness of survival, the grace of second chances. She thought of Sam. She whispered his name. "I kept my promise," she said. "She's more than fine." When Benjamin returned with the tea, he found her smiling quietly. "Thinking of the past?" he asked. Olivia nodded. "Funny thing about the past," she said. "It keeps showing up in the faces of people we love." He sat beside her. "And in the paths we never meant to take." They clinked their mugs together. "To the wrong number," she said. "To the right life," he replied. And that was it. No headlines. No scandals. Just a woman who survived. A man who rebuilt. A daughter who healed others. And a family born from coincidence or providence, depending on who you asked. But everyone who saw them agreed on one thing. Whatever it was, it had been worth dialing.